Lara held her phone with trembling hands, her eyes fixed on the message she had just received. "Sorry, I can't deal with this right now," the cold text read. It was the fifth man in 2 weeks who had disappeared before even meeting her. She took a deep breath, her free hand resting on her 6-month pregnant belly, and whispered to herself, "I won't give up." But something inside her questioned how much longer she could keep trying. Before we dive into this story, leave your comment with a rating from 1 to 10 and tell us which city you're following us from. May this moment bring reflection and emotion to your heart. The heat of Los Angeles was heavy that Thursday afternoon, and Lara adjusted the light blue dress she had chosen for the date for the 10th time. Sitting at a corner table in the coffee shop, she watched every person who entered through the glass door, her heart quickening and slowing in a rhythm she knew all too well. At 32, 6 months pregnant and alone, Lara had learned that people's gazes spoke volumes before any words were uttered. She remembered every date scheduled in the past few weeks. All promised to give her a chance, to get to know her without judgment. But when the time came, there was always an excuse. "Something came up at work. My mother got sick. I think it's better to reschedule." The messages always arrived minutes before the agreed time, and Lara already knew how to recognize the pattern. It was fear cloaked in polite words, prejudice disguised as caution. That day, however, something was different. Raphael had confirmed his presence that morning, and unlike the others, he hadn't sent any last-minute messages. She checked her watch. 2:45. He should arrive any moment. Lara took a deep breath, trying to calm the anxiety rising in her chest. She couldn't set her expectations too high. She had learned that lesson the hard way. Her belly moved and she smiled for the first time that afternoon. It was a girl. Laura, she had decided to name her. The name was a tribute to the grandmother who had raised Lara alone after her father abandoned the family when she was just 3 years old. History was repeating itself, she thought bitterly. Laura's father had disappeared as soon as he found out about the pregnancy, blocking her number and vanishing as if they had never been anything. 6 months later, Lara still woke up some nights with a heavy heart, wondering what she had done wrong. But that wasn't what she wanted to think about now. She had decided to move forward, rebuild her life, find someone who saw her not as a problem, but as a complete person. That's when a friend suggested blind dates. "You deserve to be happy, Larry. And there are good men out there, believe me," said Felicity, always optimistic. Lara agreed, even knowing it would be difficult. What she didn't expect was that it would be so painful. The coffee shop door opened and a man entered, tall, dark-haired, wearing a simple plaid shirt and jeans. He looked around with a certain shyness, and when his eyes met Lara's, he nodded discreetly. It was him, Raphael. Lara raised her hand in a timid gesture, and he walked towards the table. There was something different about him from the very first second. It wasn't the look of pity she was already familiar with, nor that morbid curiosity some people had. It was a calm, almost tired look, from someone who had seen a lot of life and wasn't easily startled. "Hi, are you Lara?" he asked with a genuine smile. "Yes, I am, and you must be Raphael. Please have a seat." He pulled out the chair and sat down, appearing relaxed despite the situation. Lara studied his face. He must have been around 35, with laugh lines around his eyes, like someone who smiled a lot, but also carried a seriousness in his gaze that told another story. "Sorry I'm late," Raphael said, even though he'd arrived 5 minutes early. "I came straight from the garage and didn't have time to change." "It's fine. You're not late at all," Lara replied, feeling strangely at ease. "What do you do for a living?" "I'm a mechanic. I have a small shop over in Silver Lake. And you?" "I work as an administrative assistant at a school. Or I did. I took leave when the complications of my pregnancy started." Raphael nodded, not seeming uncomfortable with the topic. That was already a positive sign. Most men avoided talking about the pregnancy, as if it were a taboo. "Felicity told me a bit about your story," Raphael said, getting straight to the point. "And I want you to know that I'm not here out of pity or anything like that. I'm here because I thought we could really get to know each other, without judgment." Lara felt a lump in her throat. It had been so long since someone had spoken to her that way, straightforwardly yet with respect. "And why did you agree?" she asked, needing to understand. Most guys disappear when they find out I'm pregnant. Raphael took a deep breath, as if gathering courage to reveal something important. Because I know what it's like to raise a child alone, he said, his voice low but firm. My daughter is 7. Her mother died in a car accident when Mary was only a year and a half old. Since then, it's been just her and me against the world. The confession dropped like a silent bomb between them. Lara felt her eyes sting. Finally, someone who understood. Someone who knew the weight of responsible solitude, of sleepless nights, of the fear of not being enough. I'm so sorry, Lara said sincerely. I'm sorry for what you're going through too, but look, I've learned one thing all these years. We're stronger than we think. And sometimes the best thing that can happen is finding someone who understands that struggle. They talked for over 2 hours. Raphael told her about Mary, a bright girl who loved to draw and was afraid of thunder. Lara spoke about Laura, about the dreams she had for her daughter, about the fear of doing everything alone. He listened with genuine attention, asking questions, sharing experiences. When they finally stood up to leave, it was almost night. Raphael insisted on paying the bill and walked Lara to the bus stop. Can I call you tomorrow? He asked, and there was hope in his eyes. Yes, you can, Lara replied, feeling for the first time in months that maybe, just maybe, things could work out. But what she didn't know was that this meeting would be just the beginning of a journey much more complex than she imagined. Because sometimes, when two wounded people meet, healing doesn't come easy, and the path to happiness can go through trials that test not only love, but dignity itself. The days following their first date brought a subtle but significant change to Lara's routine. Raphael called every day, always in the late afternoon after picking Mary up from school. Their conversations were simple, every day. He talked about the cars he had fixed. She spoke of the preparations for Laura's arrival. There were no grand promises, just a constant presence that gradually filled the emptiness Lara carried. On their second date, a week later, Raphael brought Mary along. Lara was nervous when he suggested it, but she understood the importance. If they were to move forward, the girl needed to be part of the equation from the start. Mary was an observant child with large, curious eyes. She wore a pink dress with a unicorn print and carried a drawing notebook under her arm. When she saw Lara, she paused for an instant, studying her rounded belly. "Is there a baby in there?" she asked directly, with the typical frankness of children. "Yes, there is. It's a girl. She's going to be named Laura." Mary thought for a moment, then smiled. Laura is a pretty name. It sounds like Mary. The afternoon at the park was peaceful. Mary played on the swings while Raphael and Lara talked on a nearby bench. He always kept an eye on his daughter, attentive to every movement, but he could also concentrate on the conversation. "She's beautiful," Lara said, watching the girl. "She's the reason for my life," Raphael replied, and there was so much love in that sentence that Lara felt a pang in her chest. "When Julia died, I thought I wouldn't make it, but looking at Mary gave me strength. She needed me, you know, and I needed her too." "Have you ever thought about having another child?" Lara asked, trying to sound casual, but the question was important. Raphael turned to her, his gaze serious. "Yes, many times. But I always thought it would be unfair to bring someone into our lives just because I felt lonely. Mary deserves someone who truly loves her, not someone who's with me out of convenience. And now I've met you, and I don't know where this is going yet, but I know I want to find out, truly, without rush and without lies." That night, when Lara arrived home, she found an envelope under the door. It was from the real estate agency. She opened it with trembling hands, already imagining what was coming. The letter confirmed her worst suspicions. The apartment owner would not renew the lease. She had until the end of the month to vacate the property. Lara sat on the sofa, the letter still in her hands, and let the tears fall. It was always like this. Every time things seemed to be getting better, a new blow would come. How was she going to find another place to live, alone and pregnant? Who would rent an apartment to her under these conditions? She grabbed her phone and sent a message to Felicity, who replied in seconds, offering help. But Lara knew her friend was also going through financial difficulties. She couldn't ask for anything more than the emotional support she already received. Just then, her phone rang. It was Raphael. "Hi, how are you? I was just thinking about you." Lara tried to hide her crying, but her voice came out choked. "I'm fine, just a tough day." "What happened?" She hesitated, but eventually told him about the letter from the real estate agency. Raphael was silent for a few seconds, and Lara already regretted speaking. She didn't want to seem like she was asking for help. "Listen, I have an idea," Raphael said. "You don't have to decide anything now, but I want you to think about it. There's a vacant apartment in my building. It's small, but it's clean and the rent is cheap. I can talk to the landlord, see if he'll accept." "Raphael, I can't accept that. We barely know each other." "I'm not asking you to move in with me, Lara. It's a different apartment in the same building. You would have your privacy, your independence. I'm just offering practical help, neighbor to neighbor. Nothing more, nothing less." Lara didn't know what to say. The offer was tempting, but also frightening. What if things didn't work out between them? What if he was expecting something in return? "Think about it calmly," Raphael continued, as if reading her thoughts. "I don't have to give me an answer now, but I want you to know that you can count on me. No judgments, no demands. It's just a helping hand, okay?" That night, Lara had trouble sleeping. Raphael's offer echoed in her mind, mixed with all the uncertainties she carried. Could she trust him, or would she be putting herself in an even more vulnerable situation? The answer came days later, when Lara tried to visit other apartments. In each place, the reaction was the same. Suspicious glances, intrusive questions about the baby's father, flimsy excuses about the property already being taken. On one of the visits, the landlady was direct. "Sorry, dear, but I don't rent to single mothers. It causes too many problems." It was the last straw. Lara left there humiliated, angry at herself for feeling so small. She sat on a bench in a nearby park and called Raphael. "I accept," she said simply. "If the offer is still on the table, I'll accept seeing the apartment. Don't worry, I'll talk to Mr. Anthony today. He's a good guy. He'll understand your situation." And he did understand. 3 days later, Lara signed a lease for an amount that fit her budget. The apartment was simple, a one-bedroom, but it had a large window that let in the morning light. It was perfect. Raphael helped with the move, carrying boxes, assembling furniture, making small repairs the apartment needed. Mary appeared in the middle of the afternoon with a drawing she had made for Lara. A colorful house with 2 girls in front, one big and one small. "That's me and Laura," the girl explained proudly. "Now we're neighbors." Lara hugged the drawing to her chest, moved. For the first time in a long time, she felt she wasn't completely alone. But what she didn't know was that this move would bring much deeper issues to light, and that the true test of Raphael's feelings was still to come. The first month living in the new apartment passed quickly. Lara established a routine that naturally included Raphael and Mary. He would come up for coffee some mornings, always bringing fresh pastries from the bakery. Mary would appear after school, wanting to show her homework or simply talk about her day. It was an odd but comfortable dynamic, as if they were an impromptu family trying to fit together. But not everything was rosy. Lara began to notice the glances of the other residents in the building, whispers in the hallways, conversations that stopped when she passed. Mrs. Celia, the neighbor on the 3rd floor, was the most direct. "So, you're Raphael's new girlfriend?" she asked one day with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "We're getting to know each other," Lara replied, not wanting to go into details. "I see. And is that baby his?" The question felt like a slap. Lara felt her face flush. "No, it's not." "Oh, I see." Mrs. Celia's tone made it clear that she had drawn her own conclusions, and none of them were generous. Lara went up to her apartment with a heavy heart. She knew people would judge, but hearing it to her face hurt differently. Was Raphael also suffering from the comments? Did he regret helping her? The answer came that same night. Raphael knocked on her door looking concerned. "Can I come in?" Lara stepped aside, and he entered, his hands in his pockets, seeming to search for the right words. "I know people here in the building are talking," he began, "and I want you to know that I don't care what they think, but I care about you, and I don't want you to suffer because of me. Raphael, it's not your fault at all. People are going to talk no matter what. I know. But I want to do something that makes it clear to everyone, including you, that my intentions are serious." He took a deep breath as if gathering courage. "Tomorrow there's a condo association meeting. I'm going to make a public statement. I'm going to say that I'm getting to know you, that I respect your story and your choices, and that any disrespect towards you will be disrespect towards me as well." Lara was speechless. "Raphael, you don't have to do that. It'll be awkward." "Yes, I do. Because you deserve to be treated with dignity. And if I don't take a stand now, they'll just keep judging you." The condo association meeting took place in the building's community room, and Lara watched from afar, hidden on the staircase. Raphael asked to speak, and before all the residents, made a declaration that would echo for a long time in that place. "I know some people here are commenting on my personal life and on Lara, so I'll be clear. She is an incredible woman going through a difficult time, and I'm proud to know her. I expect everyone here to treat her with the same respect we expect to be treated, because if you don't, you'll have to deal with me." The silence that followed was deafening. Some people bowed their heads, embarrassed. Mrs. Celia turned red, but there were also those who smiled in support. When Raphael went back up to his apartment, he found Lara waiting in the hallway, her eyes welling up. "Thank you," was all she managed to say. "No need to thank me. It was the least I could do." But that public declaration brought unexpected consequences. A few days later, Lara received a call from the Social Security Administration. There was a problem with her maternity leave benefits. Someone had filed an anonymous complaint alleging that she was living with a partner and therefore would not need the assistance as a single mother. Lara was desperate. That money was essential for her and Laura's survival. Without it, she wouldn't even be able to pay the rent. "This is harassment," Felicity said when Lara told her. "Someone in this building reported you purely out of malice." Raphael was furious when he found out. "I'm going to find out who it was and make that person retract their statement. It's no use, Raphael. The damage is done. Now I have to prove that I don't live with you, that I'm not receiving financial help, that I truly need the benefit." The days that followed were filled with anguish. Lara gathered documents, proofs, bank statements. She had to go to the Social Security Administration office and explain her situation to a cold clerk who looked at her with suspicion. It was humiliating to have to prove that she was alone, that she had no one, that she needed help. Raphael wanted to accompany her, but Lara asked him not to. It would be worse if they saw them together. He respected her wishes but waited outside the agency, ready to intervene if necessary. After 3 hours of waiting and document review, the clerk finally agreed to review the case. But she warned, "The process could take weeks, and if we discover any irregularities, you may have to return the amounts already received." Lara left there exhausted and defeated. Raphael found her sitting on a bench, her head in her hands. "Come on, I'll take you home," he said softly. On the way, Lara finally broke down. "Sometimes I think it would be easier to give up on everything. People insist on reminding me that I'm not welcome, that I don't deserve anything." Raphael pulled the car over to the side of the road and turned to her. "Listen to what I'm going to tell you, Lara. You are the strongest person I know, and I'm not saying that to cheer you up. I'm saying it because it's true. You're pregnant alone, facing prejudice and bureaucracy, and you're still standing. That's not weakness, that's courage." Lara looked at him, seeing for the first time the depth of what Raphael felt. It wasn't pity, it wasn't obligation, it was genuine admiration. "I'm not going to let you go through this alone," he continued. "Not because you need me, but because I choose to be by your side. Do you understand the difference?" She nodded, unable to speak. And in that moment, something changed between them. It was no longer just two people getting to know each other. It was the beginning of something bigger, deeper, that would be tested in ways neither of them imagined. The weeks that followed brought a routine of uncertainties. The process with the Social Security Administration dragged on, and Lara had to return to the agency twice to present additional documents. Each visit was a new humiliation, a new round of intrusive questions and judgmental looks. But she persisted because giving up was not an option. Raphael became her anchor during this period. He didn't try to solve everything for her, but he was always present, offering practical and emotional support. When Lara needed to go to the doctor for an emergency ultrasound, Raphael was the one who took her. When money was tight at the end of the month, he was the one who showed up with a basket of groceries, saying it was leftover from the farmer's market and would go bad if she didn't take it. "You don't need to take care of me," Lara said, but without conviction. "I know, but I want to," he replied, just like that. The turnaround came on a rainy Thursday. Lara received an official letter from the Social Security Administration. She opened it with trembling hands, expecting the worst. But to her surprise, it wasn't a denial. It was a summons for an administrative hearing. Someone had presented proof that she truly lived alone, and now the process would be reviewed. Lara didn't understand. Who could have done this? She hadn't asked anyone for help besides Felicity. And her friend didn't have the resources to hire a lawyer or gather formal evidence. The answer came on the day of the hearing. When Lara arrived at the room, she found Raphael sitting with a folder of documents. He had gathered shop reports showing his work hours, proofs that he paid rent for a separate apartment, even neighbor testimonies confirming that he and Lara did not live together. "How did you get all this?" Lara asked, astonished. "I went after it. I talked to everyone, explained the situation, asked for help. There are good people in this world, Larry. You just needed to give them a chance to show up." The hearing was tense. The Social Security Administration employee who analyzed the case was different from the previous one, more humane. She carefully reviewed each document, asked direct but not intrusive questions, and finally nodded. "The documents are in order. The complaint appears to have been made in bad faith. I will recommend the approval of the benefit." Lara could barely hold back tears of relief. When they left, she hugged Raphael tightly. "You didn't have to do all that." "Yes, I did, because you matter to me, and Mary is also eager for Laura to be born. She asks every day when she'll be able to meet her little sister." "Little sister?" Lara repeated, surprised. Raphael blushed. That's what she started calling her. I didn't correct her because I like to think that way too. But the relief was short-lived. A week later, their neighbor, Mrs. Celia, stopped Lara in the building hallway. She seemed nervous, almost embarrassed. "I need to talk to you," she began. Lara braced herself for the worst, but what came was unexpected. "I was the one who reported you to the Social Security Administration, and I came to apologize." The shock left Lara speechless. Mrs. Celia continued, her voice choked. "I did that because I was jealous. Jealous of seeing you manage to rebuild your life, of having someone like Raphael by your side. My husband left me 5 years ago, and since then I've lived alone, embittered. When I saw you arrive here pregnant, I saw my own failure, and instead of supporting you, I wanted to tear you down. Please forgive me." Lara didn't know how to react. Part of her wanted to scream, to drive that woman away. But another part, the part that had learned about compassion in the past few weeks, understood. Mrs. Celia was just another wounded woman trying to survive her own pain. "I forgive you," Lara said, and she was sincere. "But I hope you learn from this. Tearing others down won't heal your wound." Mrs. Celia nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I'll try to be better. I promise." News of the apology spread through the building, and something changed. People started greeting Lara in the hallways. Mrs. Marcia from the second floor offered baby clothes that her grandchildren no longer used. Mr. James, the superintendent, began asking how her pregnancy was going, genuinely interested. Raphael watched everything with a proud smile. "See, you won them over. Not with anger or resentment, but with dignity." And then the day came that would change everything. Lara was in her 8th month when she felt the first contractions. It was too early. She called her doctor, who told her to go to the hospital immediately. Raphael drove her fast but carefully, while Felicity rushed to pick Mary up from school. At the hospital, the doctors evaluated her and decided it was best to admit her. Labor was beginning, and although Laura was premature, she had good chances of survival. The next few hours were filled with tension and fear. Raphael stayed by Lara's side the entire time, holding her hand, wiping her sweat, whispering words of encouragement. "You can do it. You're strong. I'm here. And when Laura finally arrived, small but crying loudly, Lara looked at Raphael and saw tears in his eyes too. He had lived through it all by her side, shared every fear, every victory, and now he was there, witnessing the miracle that this new life was. "She's beautiful," Raphael said, his voice choked. "Perfect." Lara smiled, exhausted but happy. And for the first time since she discovered her pregnancy, she felt she wasn't alone. Not truly. The first few days with Laura were filled with adaptation and discovery. The girl was small, born at 5.5 pounds, but she was healthy and strong. Lara learned to breastfeed, to change diapers, to interpret every cry. And Raphael was always there, helping however he could, bringing food, taking care of practical tasks so Lara could rest. Mary was enchanted with her little sister. She visited every day after school, wanting to hold Laura, sing to her, show her the drawings she made. Genuine love, without jealousy or resentment, was visible in the girl's eyes. It was as if Laura had always been part of the family. "Dad, can we have a party for Laura when she's 1 month old?" Mary asked one day. Raphael looked at Lara, waiting for her answer. "I think that's a great idea," Lara said, smiling, "but nothing too big, okay? Something simple, with the neighbors and a few friends." The party was carefully planned. Raphael took charge of the decorations, Mary helped choose the colors, pink and yellow, and Felicity was responsible for the cake. Mrs. Celia offered to help with the appetizers, in a clear attempt to fully redeem herself. And on the appointed day, the building's community room filled with people. Mrs. Marcia brought a gift, a musical mobile that had belonged to her grandson. Mr. James showed up with flowers. Even the building manager, a serious gentleman who rarely spoke to residents, greeted Lara and wished her well. But the biggest surprise came when an unknown woman appeared at the community room door. She was older, must have been about 60, and carried a wrapped package in her hands. "Sorry to show up unannounced," she said shyly. "My name is Helen. I'm the mother of Laura's father." The silence that fell over the room was absolute. Lara felt her heart race. Raphael approached, protective, but she made a gesture for calm. "How did you find me?" Lara asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "My son told me about you, about the pregnancy. He acted very badly, I know, but I couldn't go without meeting my granddaughter." Helen extended the package. It was a crocheted blanket, handmade with great care. "I made this for her. I know it doesn't make up for what my son did, but I wanted you to know that Laura has a grandmother who will love her, even from afar." Lara took the blanket, her hands trembling. Part of her wanted to send Helen away, but another part understood that the woman wasn't to blame for her son's mistakes. "You can stay for the party," Lara said, surprising herself. "But let's be clear, Laura is my daughter. If you want to be part of her life, you'll have to respect me and respect my choices." Helen nodded, her eyes shining. "I understand, and I promise I will respect that." Helen's presence brought a new layer of complexity to the situation. In the following days, she returned a few times to visit Laura, always with simple but heartfelt gifts. Lara watched cautiously but gradually realized that Helen was genuine. She didn't try to impose anything, didn't criticize, she just wanted to be present. Raphael was the one who verbalized what Lara was feeling. "You know, I think Laura is lucky. She has you, who is the best mother she could have. She has Helen, who will be a present grandmother. And she has me and Mary, who love her like family. That's more than many people have." Lara looked at him, her heart swelling with emotion. "And what are we, Raphael, you and I?" He took her hand, intertwining their fingers. "I'm still figuring that out, but I know I want to be by your side, not because you need me, but because I choose to be. Every day, I choose you." And it was in that moment that Lara realized love hadn't arrived with fireworks or grand declarations. It had arrived in simple gestures, in shared late nights, in hands held during difficult times. Raphael wasn't the Prince Charming of fairy tales. He was a real man, with his own wounds, who chose to be present even when it was difficult. In the months that followed, their routines solidified. Raphael and Lara began to have dinner together some nights, always with Mary and Laura present. They didn't live together. Lara was keen to maintain her independence, but they were a family in the way that mattered, united by affection and commitment. One day, Raphael showed up with a proposal. I was thinking, what if we made it official? A real marriage on paper, a committed relationship. Lara was surprised. Are you sure? Isn't it too soon? I've been through too much in life to know what's real and what's an illusion. And you are real, Larry. What I feel for you is real. I don't want to wait to live this fully. She thought for a moment, considering everything they had lived through together, the trials, the victories, the moments of doubt and those of certainty. Yes, she finally said. Yes, I do. The wedding was simple, in the same community room where they had held Laura's one-month party. Felicity was the maid of honor, Mary carried the rings, and Laura slept the entire time in Helen's lap. Mrs. Celia cried during the vows, moved by the redemption that story represented. And when Raphael kissed Lara, sealing their commitment, everyone present applauded. Not because it was a fairy tale happy ending, but because it was a real victory for two real people who chose to build something together despite all the difficulties. Months later, when Laura took her first steps, she fell into Mary's arms. The two girls laughed together, and Lara and Raphael watched from a distance, holding hands. We made it, Lara said. We made it, Raphael agreed, and they truly did. Not because everything was perfect or easy, but because they chose to persist. Because they believed that dignity and love could coexist, that justice could be achieved, and that family was what was built with daily choices of presence and commitment. Lara and Raphael's story became a legend in the building. Mrs. Celia began helping other women who arrived alone, offering support instead of judgment. Helen became a present grandmother, participating in Laura's upbringing with the respect she had promised. And Mary grew up knowing that family wasn't just blood, but chosen love. Years later, when Laura was old enough to understand, Lara would tell her the whole story. She would talk about the difficulties, about the prejudice, about the loneliness. But she would also talk about courage, about the kindness of strangers who became family, about a man who chose to stay when everyone else fled. And Laura would grow up knowing that she had been loved even before she was born, that her life was proof that miracles happen not in magical moments, but in the daily persistence of people who refuse to give up. And so ends the journey of Lara and Raphael, a story that reminds us that true love is built on daily choices, on the courage to face prejudice, and on the strength to believe that we deserve to be happy. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment what you thought. Your participation is what motivates us to continue bringing stories that move and inspire. Until the next narrative, and may you never give up on seeking your own happy ending.